I've already taken most of the screws out. I'm just taking the final ones out now. And the back panel comes off quite easily. It's quite a heavy piece of wood. And inside the connections to the speakers and the pedal board and the swell pedal, there are no plugs and sockets or anything, so really in a lot of respects it's a waste of time taking that back panel off, but I just needed to establish whether there were any plugs and sockets down here. The advantage with taking the back panel off is that it saves quite a bit of weight for when you want to carry the bottom section, when hopefully we get the top part off. So I'll put the organ back against the wall and then remove the top piece. I'll take the screw out first for the top piece. There's a few screws along the top here. 1, 2, 3 screws. I've got one in at the moment. So you'd have to take these 3 screws out in order to take this top panel off. And the top panel just goes forward. There's a sort of a bayonet fitting underneath there. It lifts off. So now we could put the organ back against the wall. And then take out the top cover. Just clear somewhere to actually put it. Once we take it off. So you take the top cover off by putting a hand underneath, pulling it out like this, and then you can carry it and put it down somewhere. Yeah, you've got to take the top cover off because the next stage is we want to pivot the keyboard section up, and it won't pivot up unless you take that top cover off. So I took out some screws underneath at the bottom here, and the screws underneath are like a square head on. That's the clue to that type of screw. So they use a similar sort of idea on the EL range, and it's 2, 4, 6. There's about 7 screws to take out underneath to allow you to then pivot up. Now what they've also done, before you actually pivot up, what was also in were these wing nuts, which were screwed in here. So I'll just screw it back in to give you an idea of what it's about. I think these wing nuts, they stop you from pivoting the keyboard section up if you've still got that sliding cover still in because you damaged the cover. So I think that's the only idea of these of the wing nuts, but you have to take the wing nuts out before you can actually pivot the top up. The wing nut at each side in a similar position, 2 wing nuts. So now we can actually pivot the top section up. Now there's no stay on the EL range. They have a stay that comes up, and you can just like keeping a car bonnet up. On this organ, they don't seem to have provided any means of keeping this top section up. So what I'm going to propose to do is to get some padding and put it behind here, maybe at each side, and just rest this top section against the wall. There doesn't actually seem to be any backstop built into the hinge, like the pivot system. There's just no way of keeping this top section up, other than possibly like I've said. So I'll just get some padding. I'll just put it down a second and get some padding, and then we'll get on with it, what I think is the next part of the job. Just some cloth or something we need, I think. My idea is just to do something like that. That's probably enough, actually. Yeah. The thing now is that the wiring for the keyboard section seems to come down here and it disappears underneath this metal box. I think underneath that metal box they may well have the transformers, and the metal box is to perhaps shield the electrical interference between the transformers and the delicate circuitry, electronic circuitry above it. So I think the next stage is to actually remove this metal box. I've not done this previously, and it seems difficult to get at some screws at the back of the box there. You'd have to have a long screwdriver to do it, and also I think it would need two people to actually manhandle this metal box out of the organ. So I'll take the screws out and be back with you in a few minutes.